It's time to uplift and amplify the voices that shape our world.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Dr. Renee M. Lawson, and I'm back with another episode of the Horizons Author Lounge. And I'm telling you, today has been a day. First of all, very bad accident on the way home from work today. I pray for anybody who was involved with that accident. It looked pretty bad as we were driving past it. So, like I said, my thoughts and my prayers go out to everybody who was involved in that. And then I had some computer issues once I got here, but I just thank goodness that I have some great guests who are rolling with the punches. And so the interview that was supposed to take place at 7 p.m. will be moved to next week's show. But tonight we still have Dr. Nay. So I am super, super excited about having her on the show. I've heard so many amazing things about her. So without any further ado, I'm just going to bring Dr. Nay onto the show. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you so much for working it all out for us to meet tonight. It happens, technology, right?
Oh my goodness, you got to love technology, I'll tell you. Well, how are you tonight?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm excited about tonight. I'm excited about our conversation.
Yes, and I'm excited to have you. Like I said, I've heard a lot of great things about you. Kimberly said you've got to have Dr. Nay on the show, so we had to make it happen. So, can you tell everybody who's watching who is Dr. Nay?
Well, okay, Dr. Nay is a transformation in action. I started off as a little girl in South Jamaica, Queens, New York. And I became a teacher because I wanted to make a difference. So I was able to actually go back to my previous elementary school and teach, which was an amazing experience.
Yes.
And then I decided to get my master's as a reading specialist because I wanted to impact the teachers, because as a literacy specialist, I was able to go in, train teachers, work with teachers in their classrooms to better help their students.
Yeah.
And later on, I decided to go into administration, educational leadership, because I wanted to have an impact on policy decisions, to have impacts on districts, communities. But after I received my doctorate, it's so interesting. When I applied for jobs, I ended up as a college professor about 30 years ago. And it's interesting how God guides you through different paths. And now when I think about it, I'm like, wow, look how many children I have impacted by training teachers all of these years, right? So my specialty is literacy, teaching reading in the classroom, but also culturally responsive pedagogy. That's my baby, where I teach teachers, master level teachers, how to prepare for and to teach children who look like us.
Yes.
So that is my baby. That is my interest, because it's all about, how do we empower those who are underserved. But then about 5 years or so ago, poetry started coming to me. I was always a writer. I would write, research articles, conference proposals, book chapters, the academic type of things. But then poetry started coming. I embraced it. And then I said, I was trusted with this poetry to use it as a way to empower others. I was given it for a purpose. So that's why I published my books. I may be jumping ahead a little bit.
No, we're just gonna get to the book, so we're doing okay.
Okay. So yes, so I decided to publish my books so that they can get out there to the public and help women and children.
Well, first of all, I want to touch on something. You mentioned pedagogy. Can you explain that concept? I mean, I did some writing on that years ago, the difference between pedagogy and andragogy. But for people who may not have heard the term, or they may not be as familiar with it, can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, with pedagogy, that is where, teachers learn techniques, teachers learn strategies, the best research practices in the classroom. So that's one thing as a college professor. Yes, I taught the strategies, but I also taught the theory behind it, because I feel it's so important for teachers to understand why are they teaching the way they're teaching, right? Why are they doing what they're doing in the classroom? Not because, it's cute, because it's fun, because I found it on the website, but we want a theoretical, a tried, proven way to a better way, effective way to teach children. So that's what I pretty much do, and also I think it's very important for parents to understand, why teachers do what they do in the classroom, and they can even better promote literacy in the home, because, the parent is the first, line to create literate children.
Absolutely. Parent or children often mirror what they see their parents do. So if they see their parents reading and taking an actual interest in learning, then the kids do it too. They may not even realize that they're doing it, but they are doing it.
Exactly. And a lot of adults, don't realize that they are the role models, even though many adults say, oh, well, I didn't ask to be a role model, but you are a role model, being a significant person in the child's life. So like you said, modeling at home, reading, modeling and expressing the importance of education, having particular routines of reading with your children at home. And because when you're reading aloud, and this is something that I teach my my students as well, is that when you're reading aloud to the children, you're modeling fluency, you're modeling intonation, you're modeling your thought processes. If you do a think aloud, oh, I see this in the picture. Oh, it said this. This is why, right? So you're modeling what we call metacognition. And that's what we want children to do. We want children to think about what they are thinking about. We don't want them just to be passive readers, but we want them to be active cognitive readers, right?
Reading and understanding, reading to understand and not just to get through it.
Exactly.
Yes. So now you mentioned that you had published your poetry. Have you also published some of these concepts that we're discussing right now?
Well, actually, I guess we'll get into more detail about the books, but I have one for women, and then I have 2 books for children, grades 5 through 12. And it's geared for children of color, because, as you probably know, there lacks diverse literature in classrooms, in schools, and unfortunately, they're pulling so many off the shelf. So I'm in the process of writing a instructional guide to go along with the two books, because the books for the children are not just say books of poetry, but they are kind of like workbooks as well, because I've incorporated my literacy background into it. So after each poem, I allow the children to make connections, because when you go to theory, you know, with Rosenblatt, right, you want children to respond to what they're reading, to express their understanding. So I have those opportunities at the end of each chapter. After each poem, but then after each chapter, I also what we call graphic organizers, to help students to organize and to write their understanding of the concept for that particular chapter. So I've incorporated my literacy and my experience as being an African-American mom, also my experience as being, you know, an educator, a teacher. So with the instructional guide, it's where it would be a resource for parents at home, especially if the children aren't getting that education in their school, where parents can do it at home, where it has, for each poem, it has various instructional strategies, various graphic organizers they can use, but also a bibliography of other texts that are out there to supplement whatever the concept is being discussed.
So would you say your books are more for parents and giving them the tools to help their kids, or are your books more for teachers to give them tools?
Actually, for both. I have used my books for my class, my college classrooms, to help teachers get an understanding into cultural diversity and what are some strategies that they can use. So I have actually used it in my classrooms with teachers and pre-service teachers. And then I've also gone into schools. I've been fortunate and blessed to go into schools for the 5th year now in my own elementary school, which is so exciting, because the students are like, "Oh, Dr. Lay, you went to school here?" I'm like, "Yeah, about 50 years ago," you know. So they're like amazed that, you know, I sat, you know, in those classrooms. And then I was also a teacher there. So they're like, "You taught here too?" So it's just so fulfilling to go back into my old stomping grounds and to make a difference. So I've used the books with the 5th grade students, because I go into the 5th grade. That's the target class level. And so I've really seen how effective it has been when I see the children respond and how they present their understanding of the poems and how they can incorporate it into their lives. Because, you know, the book ends with children becoming leaders and youth activists. Like, how can they make an impact on their world? So I've used it as a college professor for training teachers. I've used it in the elementary classrooms with the students and with the teachers observing, so that they can implement it as well. And then also it's the idea of parents working with parents as well, for they can use the book at home, especially for homeschooling and for schools where you know, books are being removed from shelves.
You wouldn't happen to have any of your books with you right now, would you?
Yes, I do.
Let's see.
I'm glad you asked. Okay, so we can talk. Well, since we've been talking about the one for children, now the cover is a little different, because when I first published my books, I went through a publishing company. But then I decided, based upon the situation at hand, I decided to disconnect from the publishing company and to publish my books under my incorporation, Renee's Way Incorporated. So now I have full autonomy. I have full control. I can actually see, my revenue directly without going through another party. So I just want to say with that is that the covers are a little different because I've changed the titles a little bit, so it would differ from the previous book. Okay, and I have it's still in the print, so I'm looking to getting the new editions in a week or so. I'm pretty excited about that. So this one here is it doing the reverse?
I see it. Sister Girl, Step Into Your Greatness.
Yes. And the new version is Dear Sister Girl. Dear Sister Girl, Step Into Your Greatness, because it's all about encouraging our children, to love themselves, love their culture, understand, what it's like to be, a woman and demanding respect, etc., and becoming leaders. And then I have Yo Bro, Strive Toward Excellence. And the new edition is Strive Toward Excellence. So I just made minor changes, but to just make a distinguished, difference between the two. But the content is the same. One thing I would like to share is that I call them parallel text because they cover the same concepts. So if I say children turn to page, 10, for chapters 2 and 3, they're the same poems.
Got it.
Only chapter 1 is more gender specific. But if I'm saying let's talk about respect, in the girls' book, it's about girls demanding respect, not being called outside their name.
Right.
But then for the boys, exactly. So the boys on that page is about being a gentleman and respecting women. Because, you hear so much today of disrespect and I think children need to understand that.
I agree. And social media has so much influence now. And it's very disrespect is becoming very popular on social media, and with our young people on social media, and hearing these messages start to get into their heads, and it affects the way they treat the kids around them.
Exactly. So we really need to go back and really tell them, and model for them respect, and also what is excellence. What is greatness? What are examples of that? So that's what I talk about at the beginning of both of the books as to, what are your aspirations? Because so many of times children aren't even thinking long term. So, so I also have, a poem in that as to, always dream big, so I want children to think about, well, what are your goals? What are your aspirations? But then also, what's great when I work with the 5th graders is, well, what are the steps that you need to take to get to this point? It doesn't just happen overnight, right? And now, like, you're in 5th grade. So therefore, you need to really start taking that into account. You really need to start looking at your study skills. You really need to start thinking about, what is required, what is the criteria to get into that college or that training program, or if you want to be that basketball star, well, you really need to take the time and put in those hours of practice. Right. You have to be really dedicated and committed to what your goal is. Michael Jordan and LeBron James didn't just shoot a couple of balls a day. They got up, I'm sure, very early before school started to go out there and practice to become, the GOATs that they are. So
that's absolutely true.
Exactly.
I can see why you were invited to be one of the featured authors on a Literacy Code book tour. This message just fits perfectly with that.
Oh, I'm so excited about the Literacy book tour. Not just, the idea of collaborating with other authors and learning about what they're doing and building that that collaboration. But it's the idea of getting that message out there, to parents, to communities, to institutions, because unfortunately, just like I was talking about this the other night, was that many teacher education prep programs do not have required cultural diversity, pedagogical courses, right?
Right.
And that's very discouraging. Just like I used to work with the State Department, the New York State Department, and travel to different colleges across the state for accreditation recommendations. And I always took the NCATE Standard 3. This was some years ago, and Standard 3 was diversity. And sad to say, I always had to write up recommendations for colleges because even today, many schools, like I said, lack that required course. And it shouldn't just be a required course. It should really be truly integrated throughout everything that is taught. So we still have a way to go, but it's really, the idea of teachers understanding, just like selecting diverse literature. You don't just pull a book off the shelf because you see a little brown-skinned kid in it. You really need to read it and analyze it, because I teach my students to analyze literature to see if it's, respectfully portraying, people of color, what are the themes, et cetera. So even looking at the illustrations, looking at the messages, looking at who's the author. Is the author really, authorized, right, to write on this particular topic? So
that's a big one. A lot of people want to write about things, and it may not always be the right person to write about it.
Right. Exactly. So we really need to, examine. And then there are so many resources out there and associations that endorse particular books for various cultural groups. Like the Coretta Scott King Award books, we can surely trust, that list of books that won those awards. So, so that is one way, to try to identify, good literature, good diverse literature for children. And it's not just for children, who look like us, it's for all children.
Yes, of course.
Right? Good literature is good literature for everyone.
Good literature is just good literature. And I think sometimes we shouldn't have. I mean, I understand why we say Black books, because we want to give our Black kids access to Black books. But at the same time, just like you said, a great story is a great story. And unfortunately, just as our Black kids may pick up a book and not see a Black face and they think that book isn't for them, often white kids and white adults even will pick up a book and see a Black face and say, oh, this isn't for me. And they'll put it down. So I think that it's very important that we promote our great stories as great stories so that everybody has access to them.
Exactly. And that's the point, to have the access, because, we look at school libraries and they lack, right, a diversity of literature. So like you said, this idea of having access so everyone could pick, all different types of books that interest them, like when my children were young, back, that was a little while ago, but like the summer reading list, I always had to go out and find books for them to read with a cultural background, and then get an approval from the teacher that it was okay, because the list of books lacked. But we've made some progress, but we still have a way to go.
Yeah, well, we're getting there. We're making progress, though. Yeah. So what other projects do you have going on now? Sounds like you're already busy enough.
Well, the other book that I published is Embrace Your Power, A Transformative Journey of Self-Discovery. And this is what I call my second edition, because this one here, I was able to publish under Renee's Way Incorporated. So I was pretty proud when this one came in the mail. And it's all about women empowerment, for women to understand that they have the power within, for them to focus on their self-care, focus on their aspirations. And in addition to that, again, I've incorporated my literacy background. So in addition to it being such what I call conversational poetry, because it's like I'm talking to you, girl. We're sitting at the kitchen table, you know. So so I just wanted to make it, easy understanding. But also at the end of each poem, I have thinking prompts, because I want the readers not just to read my poetry, but to really reflect and to think about how the poem connects to them, and for them to think about, well, how can I, improve my life? Because it's all about a transformative journey. So it's kind of like, I guess, like a self-help type of book, good, easy reading, but with thought and reflection. So
and not a whole lot of preaching, because people don't want to be preached at in their books anymore.
Exactly. So I'm like, one is like, girl, I'm a hot mess. Because we've all been there, where some of them days I'm tired of being tired. That's another title in here. Another one is let's see, I'm trying to think of the one I'm trying to think of. Just stand still, because sometimes we just keep running around and running around and running around. Sometimes you just need to stand still, and feel and listen to what God is telling us of where we need to go. So sometimes the timing isn't the exact timing that we want. So sometimes we just need to stand still, and receive, and for us to make those decisions. And then I guess I might as well keep going on for a second. And my newest endeavor, listen to this, right? Newest endeavor. And I tell you, honestly, I didn't have any of this on my radar. I was planning on being a college professor, retire, travel, sit on the porch,
all the things,
all those things. And then, like I said, at my age, the poetry started coming. I was set on the path of being a best-selling author, because my Sister Girl book is an Amazon bestseller. So I'm very happy about that. So I'm a author, but also now I am a spoken word artist with MoonTown Records.
Spoken word, yes.
And we call it spoken fusion, because it's a little different than spoken word, because it's really the fusion of Herb Middleton. He's a multi-platinum, multi-Grammy-nominated music producer. So you really can't draw the line between what came first, the music or the poetry. So it's a true fusion, and it's fused across different genres. So we have neo soul, we have R&B, love songs, etc. So I just had last week my release of my spoken fusion album, and it's Embrace Your Power 1113. Yes.
So we have music, and then we're getting to hear your spoken word poetry.
Exactly. So you don't know like which came first. So it's just a dynamic concept that we've developed. So you hear my voice and the poetry, but then the music isn't like just in the background. It's like a song where you have to listen to it. You have to go to the website and check it out.
I'm interested.
Yeah. So there are some I'll call them songs. There are some songs that you can really like dance to. Embrace Your Power. It has like an Afro beat. Then there's Divine Love, where it's just sitting and chilling, or it's like we call it the wedding song. There's some neo soul, and what's so wonderful, it's all about women empowerment. So it's music with a purpose.
Love it. Wow. So you are really doing a lot, and you are as big a powerhouse as Kim said you were. So I'm so excited to meet you, and I'm excited to see you on the Literacy Code book tour.
Yes.
I know it's going to be launching soon, and
Yeah.
so I really hope that everybody comes out and receives the messages that you wonderful ladies are going to be sharing.
Yes, because it's all about literacy. It's all about children becoming literate adults, and even the parents, right?
Yes.
Being literate adults, and that's where the power is. Literacy is power.
Wonderful. Well, I want to thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
Are there any last thoughts you'd like to share before we end?
No, I guess people can find me on my website, drnarenee.com. And yeah, so I look at further look forward to further speaking with you, collaborating with you, and yeah, and I'm sure that we will be talking again as we plan this literacy code book tour, because it's all about a movement. It's a movement to embrace our power through literacy.
All right, now that's the way we end the show. So thank you once again, Dr. Nay. You have a wonderful evening, and may God continue to bless your projects and the message that you're sharing. Everybody knows I'm a huge proponent of literacy, and so I'm feeling like I'm talking to a kindred spirit right now.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. You have a great night.
You too. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, y'all. We just finished talking with Dr. Renee. So please, please, please go out and purchase these books. She has a super powerful message. Here's her link once again, drnarenee.com. So reach out to her and read the books. Share your own stories. I'm sure she would love to hear them. And then the biggest thing, if you purchase any of the books, make sure you leave a review. And speaking of reviews, how many of you guys have gotten into my new book, Surprise Swipe Right? This book is so hilarious, and it's a feel-good story, and it's a timely holiday story. So please go and get your copy on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever books are sold. You need this book in your life. And if you have read this book, then drop your girl a review. Let me know what you thought, because I already know you're going to love this book. And there's not too many people who've read this book. In fact, there aren't any who've read the book and said they didn't like it. So go ahead, get your copy of Surprise Swipe Right. And you saw the promo at the beginning of the show. The For the Culture Book Awards are now open. So please, please, please go out and vote for your favorite author. We have 9 authors in the competition. I'll show you the video one more time because it is everything. But no, you've got to see this.
It's time to uplift and amplify the voices that shape our world.
All right, those are the contestants. So go to this link, www.mtwimagesolutions.com/contest-2025. Vote for your favorite author. The top 5 authors, out of the top 5, one will be selected for $1,000 prize. The second place will be a $500 prize, and the third place will be a $250 prize. And they're also going to get a promotion package. So this is going to be huge. And in some ways, it could be life-changing for some of these authors. So please go out and support these authors. These books are amazing. You will see them when you go to the site. The book that's in the competition and how they are uplifting African American culture. And all of the books are fiction. It's strictly a fiction competition. So just check it out. You've got to see it. Now, I'm going to leave you with a message that I always leave you with, and that is supporting the creators' rights movement. We are fighting for perpetual copyright for our work so we can pass on a true legacy and down to our children and to their children's children. But we cannot do that with outdated copyright laws. So we really want to make sure that you take a part in that. Here's the video. Check it out. All right, so that is the creators' rights movement. So go to this link, www.creatorsrightsmovement.com, to find out more information about the movement and how you can be a part of it. And please, please, please sign the petition so we can get this up to Congress. It is very, very important. And this is going to support all types of artists, all types of creators, not just authors, but musicians, artists, and so forth. So it is very important that you get this information and that you support this movement. So we really would love to see your name on that petition. So that's all we have for tonight. I talk to you. Oops. I know normally I talk to you guys about the Black History Month Literary Weekend. All I'm going to tell you about that is that ticket sales start December 1st. I'm not going to show you the video tonight. It's all over my social media. But ticket sales start December 1st. We want to see you guys in New Orleans, February 19th through the 21st. We are going to have a time, and a time will be had. That's all I have for tonight, guys. I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the show, for supporting the great authors who are a part of this show. And we're going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to support more authors, but we need your help to do it. So if you have not followed us on YouTube, now is the time to do it. Love you guys. Have a great evening. I will see you tomorrow night on Black Authors Matter TV. And then I'll see you right back here next week, where we're going to be interviewing 3 more authors. Yes, that's right. 3 more authors from the Literacy Code Book Tour. All right, guys. That's all I have. God bless you. Good night.